Borderlands is a brand new film directed by Eli Roth, based off of the incredibly popular video game that I play sometimes and I suck at. And after going through what some people have called a production nightmare, I think the question is, was this movie worth the wait? Or were all of the bumps in the road a big glaring sign that this movie was in trouble? That's what I'm going to be talking about today. This is my spoiler-free review, so welcome to my channel. Smash like, subscribe if you're new here, and let's clap this trap. That sounded weird, didn't it? That sounded strange. But the synopsis for Borderlands reads, returning to her home planet Pandora, an infamous bounty hunter forms an unexpected alliance with a ragtag team of misfits. Together they battle alien monsters and dangerous bandits to uncover one of Pandora's most explosive secrets. And just to try to get some of my basic and calm initial thoughts out of the way, I think that this was the worst movie of the year. Like, guys, this was so bad. This is actually one of the few gaming franchises that I've gotten into, and so not only is this a massive letdown on that front, but also just a poorly made movie. It's trying to be Furiosa and like Guardians of the Galaxy, but at the same time, it's ignoring everything that makes the game so special. And it's a damn shame. Like I mentioned, this movie was in production hell for a long time. Craig Mazin, who some of you might know from The Last of Us, he's the showrunner of The Last of Us, but he was involved in this for a while, and he ended up stepping away and actually fighting to get his name completely removed from the project, which should have been a sign, but I still happily strolled into the theater and I was like, it's gonna be okay, and it's not okay. It's not okay. And then Eli Roth, who I respect a lot, he saw this thing through. He's the director of this film, and that's what's disappointing, because very similar to the Halo series that just got canceled, again, this feels like it's just completely missing the essence of the game, and I didn't expect that from Eli Roth. For me, the essence of the game, it's just like it keeps you coming back. It's this world that you want to stay in, and this movie just feels like they saw the new Jumanji movies do well and were like, hey, if we can get some of those actors and get some other big stars and then cram them into another IP, that'll make us money. And screw that, man. Like, honestly, it was written on the wall. Like, from the jump, I saw that Kevin Hart was cast in this, and to me, like, seeing him and then Jack Black get cast in this, like, it was just kind of a signal that something was off. Like, I'm a big fan of Kevin Hart, but throwing him in this just felt like a cash grab, and it's so weird to me how he's the guy they chose for, like, the tough male lead. Like, what? He's legit not even funny in this movie, and that's his strength. Instead, they're playing it up like he's Roland, and he didn't even seem like Roland, and he didn't seem like this, like, stoic hero that he was trying to be. And same goes for Cate Blanchett. I'm not trying to sound mean, but my friends, like, I'm not kidding when I say I think this was one of the worst casting choices I've ever seen in film. She is a phenomenal actress. We all know that. Lady Galadriel herself. And so it's not a knock on her. It's purely the decision to cast her in this role. I'm sorry, but she's 55 years old, and she should not be playing Lilith. In the entire film, they play it off kind of like she's this sort of young but pushing middle-aged bounty hunter, and there's a part of her story involving how she got separated from her mom when she was young, and there's all this like half-assed backstory, and you're sitting there like, I'm sorry, but the wig alone is not believable, and now you're trying to get me excited to watch this 50-year-old woman do like awkward stunts, and on top of that, the dialogue that she's performing is just clearly not in her wheelhouse. Like, this is just not Cate Blanchett. This role is meant for somebody else. It was just a giant mistake, and it frustrates me because the games are so great. The classes are great, the guns are great, and after seeing what The Last of Us and Fallout have managed to achieve, this just looks ridiculous. And I'll also say that in the games, the guns are such a huge deal, you know what I mean? That's the draw there. No pun, actually, draw. But seriously, like, they show the guns, and you'll see them shooting these guns, but there's no effort put forth to, like, shine a light on how unique each of these guns is. I feel like they easily could have added something like that as a nod, but no. And the psychos were god-awful too. And they're literally one of the most iconic things about the game, gracing every single cover. I was so disappointed at how little of the essence of the game was felt, man. Just to reiterate that, like, there was an attempt, but it was about as much of an attempt as the likes of M. Night Shyamalan's Avatar: The Last Airbender. And similar to that movie, the CGI was another glaring issue. It felt like some work was done on this movie and then they realized it was going to be trash and they just stopped. And I'd say the same thing about the costumes. It just looked like you're like walking through Comic-Con and you're watching all of these cosplayers stroll by. And the members of the crew are fine, you know. Tiny Tina's played by Ariana Greenblatt. Surprisingly, the standout. I think she probably was the most compelling piece of this movie, but then aside from her, you have Claptrap played by Jack Black, who, you know, I didn't think such a big name would need to be Claptrap, but Jack Black was fine. You know, Jack Black's always fine. And then you have Kevin Hart as Roland, and I talked about him a little bit. Also, Florence Montagu as Krieg. He's like one of the psychos, and, you know, Florence Montagu under a mask, it's fine. I didn't like the aesthetic of the psychos. And it's not to say that they didn't do a good job with the masks. Like, it looks like the psychos. Like, you're looking at it in real time, and you're like, okay, that looks like a psycho's mask and stuff. But it didn't feel right. But also, Jamie Lee Curtis makes an appearance, and she fits into this movie about as well as Cate Blanchett did. I don't know. I see what they were going for. They were trying to start a franchise, but they failed at creating a compelling world. Pandora is awesome in the games, and this felt nothing like that. And at no point in any scene was I interested by the backdrop or by the characters, and the jokes, they just didn't work for me. The music didn't work for me. And I just don't think in production as well as now in release that this movie ever found an identity. And it's too bad because this IP freaking rules, but maybe they can reboot it as a TV show or a movie someday. I just hope it's not like this, but yeah. I still love Eli Roth, I do, but this was certainly not his best outing. And, you know, as always, as for Borderlands, I have to give my Jones Vibe star rating. And my friends, I'm giving this film 1 out of 5 stars, no doubt. But let me know all of your Borderlands thoughts down in the comments, whether you saw the movie or you did not. I'd just like to start a conversation with y'all. Also, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and don't forget to keep up the good vibes. Peace, my friends.